Are we live? I hope we're live. Are we live?
I know that this could
Cool, cool. Stop. I don't want to get immediately copyright claimed by Coldplay. Welcome. Hello. My name is Logan, aka Spiderhands, and welcome to SB $5 song requests number 37, where for just $5 we can review a track of your choice via Ko-fi. It can be an original song you've made, or it can be a song you like. It can be via YouTube or Spotify, whichever suits. And if we switch over to here, I'm currently on Oliver Tree's profile. All right, I got to do this. There we go. That's it. That makes more sense now. That's going to look a little bit more sort of semi-professional. And if we go over here, oof, that's not good. That's about an acoustic screen I need to buy. Nothing incriminating there, just that I need to go and buy some acoustic screens there because of the fact that I have a neighbor who has just moved in. I assume that they're a tenant and they're wanting for me to go and, well, no, they don't really care, but I need to go and buy myself some acoustic insulation because their bass is very loud. Now, hang on. Why is my GPU burning? I've already had this conversation. It's very boring. Where is my GPU? Where is it? My fan speed is at 40% on auto. So it's at 54 degrees at the moment. So it says it's burning, but it's not. It's 64 degrees. There should be no issues whatsoever. Anyways, if you want a track reviewed, we can definitely do that. Chat time wise, is there any news today to talk about? I finished the first SB Google's video where I was going to Google musicians. Sup, Owen Rose. Don't worry, I know I've got to do your track. I haven't forgotten. We'll do your track in a moment, but just I have finished the first SB Google's video. It has been rendered and it'll be going up on the Patreon soon. So for all those SB patrons out there, you're going to get early access to the video and hopefully you like it. I feel like it's a good-natured video. It's good to learn a bit more about Jay Chow outside of what I've been told. Some kind of spicy stuff in there as well, which is kind of interesting. Like, but that'll be in the video. That video's done. That'll go on the YouTube channel later on. I'll probably do David Tao next, so that'll be kind of cool to get through. I'm just having a look at chat. Blue Dinner Box says, Charlie XX going to release another version of a new album featuring new artists. Absolutely. I was actually aware of that because I was checking out one of the tracks I got sent through recently, and it mentioned a new album, and 3 or 4 of the tracks were shown, but not all of them. So it'll be interesting to see what this next album is like. It's great that we're sort of, mixing things up and keeping it fun. Yeah. My CPU is hovering around 40C right now. That's depending on what kind of setup you've got, that's not bad. Is it a laptop? Is it a desktop computer? Is it air cooled? Is it water cooled? Is it like liquid AIO cooled? I feel like for me, I've got a literal heat pump inside my studio, so like the temperature in here is always manageable, always managed. And I suppose when I do get this additional stuff done with the soundproofing on Monday or Tuesday, just again to reduce the noise that comes in from my neighbor whenever they decide to play music, which is ironic considering I'm a musician, but their music is just mainly bass. It'll be good to get that done, and then it should even be more controlled in here. Yeah. Hopefully your CPU is good. My GPU is at 54 at the moment, which is fine because I'm doing stuff with it, I suppose. 57 actually. It's because I've got the fish on screen and it's having to render the fish. I think that's it. I think this is literally using the GPU to do this, and so it's kind of treating it like the animation for a video game or something like that. We are going to review though. We are going to get Owen Rose's track reviewed because we were supposed to do it yesterday. We just ran out. Well, we weren't. Ko-fi decided to not let me stop the queue I had, and more songs got added after I closed the queue, which is, I guess, fine. Stuff happens, but yeah, we're doing it today. We're doing Owen Rose's track there. So this is the username here. Thanks for your request. And this track that we have to kick things off is by Sheena Ringo. So that's cool. Thank you for your request. This is by Sheena Ringo. I don't know what name that is, though. We'll go into detail, get into it here. I'm pretty sure I've opened the queue, right? It is open. Good. Just confirming, because I do have a habit of forgetting. Rain in the Dark, apparently, is the name of the track by Sheena Ringo. So let's go. Let's do it. And we have a Spotify link kindly provided by Owen? Or Owen Rose? Here, we good? Sheena Ringo time, baby. Let's do it. Thank you for your request. It's incredibly tense with those strings and the kind of wishy, noisy, screechy sounds. The interplay between the strings and the bass as well. I mean, the vocals are probably the most normal thing about this track at this point. Like, from what I'm familiar with, I suppose. And the turntablism in this part here, man, it's really neat. Some parts seem a bit discombobulated, but otherwise. Trying to figure out that wow oscillating synth in the background is. If it's guitar or like a synth player or something. Classy to have a fade out though.
So that same how we're using tone. How
fantastic. So that was a really unique experience. Really unique experience. This track from Sheena Ringo titled Rain in the Dark. Sup Judith, how you going? Welcome to the live stream. Hopefully everyone watching this is having a good weekend so far. It is Saturday here in New Zealand. I assume it's probably the start to the weekend for a lot of people who are back on Friday at this point, but that's, well, clearly all good either way. Sup Alvin? Hello, welcome from New Zealand. Hello to you in Chicago. Hopefully you're well. So this track by Sheena Ringo is intriguing to me for several reasons. One, because it doesn't even seem like the focal point is Sheena in this. There is this weird kind of ambience, feeling of sort of disturbance because of the way these sort of synth industrial textures meld together with the really warped kind of twisted guitar tones, the bass and the drums. And I get the feeling listening through this that there's a lot more depth to it than just taking it, like the rain in the dark, like literally. Maybe it's like a super darkness or something like that, like you're in the dark and you're still getting rained on. I'm not sure. Or maybe it's talking about being alone at night, maybe in your bedroom with the rain outside. Maybe it's like kind of a weird kind of peaceful. I'm not quite sure, but either way, I think it's a track where Sheena Ringo's vocals are fantastic, and I appreciate the relative sense of equilibrium we had with the performance. We did cry out at times. It's a piece where you get a bit of that raunchiness, that kind of feistiness that is classic Sheena Ringo with the vocal tone. But then you sort of also have some parts where they're a bit softer and a bit more palatable, and we're trying to go through different moods and ambiances, or sort of like perceptions. But you just never really get that much of a moment's respite from the rest of the track. It constantly feels very tense and uncomfortable because of some of the harsh textures within the track from those more sort of noise-based elements there. I think that's a good thing because it lets the listener know more than meets the eye. And for someone like me who doesn't speak the language natively, I just realized there's lyrics here as well. I apologize for not putting the lyrics forward. I forgot that there were lyrics for this. Not that I can read these lyrics, but I know that other people do appreciate. Oh, did I actually put these lyrics on? I did put the lyrics on, I think. I did put the lyrics on. Man, that's crazy. Yeah, I did. Absolutely, I did play the lyrics. I'm just tripping. But either way, I thought the vocal performance itself was very solid there. We expressed ourselves really... suppose if you look at the context of the track favorably, there were some compelling melodies throughout. And it's just the rest of the track at 5 minutes, which feels like more of a through composed piece than anything, despite the verse chorus structure. You have a song where like you have a bram 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 bram, like this consistency with the progression the entire time of the chords there. And it's not a loop that necessarily ever resolves itself harmonically there. It's constantly going back up that ladder and falling down again. The strings invoke a sense of sadness there, but there is also a sense of sharpness to them where the tension is palpable and kind of is an interesting combination with those guitars. I think there might have also been some key stuff that was a bit more subtle in that piece as well there that underlined a bit of the mid-range and maybe provided a bit of sort of like softness in the piece. But, the bass line with the way I call and respond with certain elements there had a personality of its own, but still was very respectful of the bass, the root notes within those other chord progressions and held that well. The drums were strong and they were not too over the top, but they definitely had a firm position within the track there. 1 and 3. Yeah, like an 8th note groove for a lot of it. And it kind of bit at you a little bit, but not in the way where it was off-putting. It seemed like we were thinking things were uncomfortable overall, but we were still just trying to find a way to trudge through it. There were variations with those drum fills and patterns there that were meaningful, But it was more that I suppose I was focusing to how the other synth textures and how the other guitar parts, including like the kind of bendy unison bend guitar solo thing, like that was in that last half there. It was relatively minimalist. A lot of the color came from the da 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 da, the melodies within the hook lines. There was a lot of interplay, and it's like a very tricky song, like in regards to the intricacy of the different instruments and how they go together. But fundamentally, you again, like it's about the noise of the instruments, the sounds they make, combined with the fact that the chord progression really does never sort of resolve. So you got a constant loop that you're going through. And I think the lyrics talk about aftermath of intensive sex and to suffer from isolation, uncertainty towards others and self. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me if that was about that. I could kind of imagine that aesthetic being applied to this. Overall, it's a sad sounding track where someone sounds like they're going through a genuinely horrific time. And it's done in a way that's measured and mature, but still quite raw. And I think it's a tight instrumental performance there, which it focuses on the story as the focal point. Studio recording, mixing, and mastering is really well handled. Things are well leveled in the mix there. Music surrounds you in the headphones, different instruments panned in different positions. Different instruments panned in different positions, with some panning of automation there going from left to right, some stuff swirling around the center, almost like thoughts going through your head. It's got dynamic range. It's nice to know without pumping. It's commercial grade. I just feel like there's more to this track than you could get on a first listen. I probably want another go through it at my own time. But thank you to Owen Rose for putting this track forward. Sheena Ringo with the track Rain in the Dark. It's really cool. Really cool song. So what have we got next? What have we got next? There's just some parts where like it sounds like the and thank you to Owen Rose or Rose for the request as well. There's just some parts where it just genuinely seems like the song is breaking up or something like that, with the kind of glitchiness of some elements there that's really visceral. But like it's great in regards to the actual musical experience. It helps fill in the gaps a lot. But this is from Dinner Hay, this next request. What do we have from Dinner Hay today? We have Miror by Bialystok. So I think this is the first time that I think Dinner Hay has put through a track that hasn't been Charlie XCX in a while. Which is cool. Like I don't mind either way. I'm happy to review whatever. It's chill. It's chill, man. But this is Miror by Bialystoks. So let's go. Let's do it. It's gorgeous for the extensions and the vocals.
Into the mirror, mirror, mirror. 心まま雨の降る痛みを消えない眼差し思いに描いた道のり
Oh, that was a smooth transition into the drums there. Great backing vocals here. great chorus or flange or a phaser on the keys here. Double tracking. It's a gorgeous solo, man. Like a, yeah. Man, that song was absolutely gorgeous. That was Bialystocks with their track Mirror. What do I think this track is about? There was that part when I look into the mirror. I think it's potentially someone just looking at themselves and trying to accept who they are for their ups and downs, their highs and lows. It just to fill in, Owen, I think the reason there's so little listens is because this album came out October 2nd. So this album came out 2 days ago. So I think that's why there's not a lot of listens yet. But I think it's a fantastic first impression of this work there. It's this is the art for it if you want to go check it out after the live stream. I think that this track Mirror, I think I spoke what it was about, my interpretation of it. The vocals from this song were so good. So good. I think part of why they work so well is that they started out really kind of subtle, like the person was alone in front of the mirror, and then you had these backing vocals come in at the halfway point, and there were more and more voices, almost like there were more and more people or more and more thoughts in your head or more memories you had related to that. The song was just developing the entire time. You had the keys at the beginning with an interesting reverb on it, almost like you were lost in your own thoughts. And then, of course, you had the drums coming a bit later on there with some interesting sort of buzz, rollish kind of snare, ride, and kick patterns with some really stellar, solid kind of old school kind of fill work there and eighth note grooves there. There was a great sense of movement within it when it got going, but it wasn't super intense at the same time. I think that the vocalist displayed really stellar vocal technique in a way that wasn't too over the top, but allowed for a nice call and response between themselves and the sides without either trying to steal too much of the thunder. It just was a really full sounding track near the end. Part of that was playing around with dynamic range. Part of that was also just like approaching different vocal parts of the vocal range for different parts and so niched better. I think that, the song just flew by really quickly, especially for 4 minutes 40. Like it was effortlessly phrased. Like it just was so smooth and so slick. And part of that, I think, was the work with the keys, especially in that later stage. Like the drum grooves were tight, and we had our keys in the beginning, which were like the piano at the beginning, which was really elegant and sophisticated. It was like very solemn and thoughtful with the extensions and the way we arpeggiated and put those forward. But again, the sense of like freeform chromaticism within the modes with the jazzy parts, the intonations on the right hand, with the filtering of flanging, almost like they were, again, more thoughts going through our head and it was kind of swirling around, was absolutely masterful. It wasn't too sort of in your face either with the soloing. Like the way that it oscillated was, again, as Judith said, as relaxing, and Alvin Kay said, it's a chill, almost lo-fi beat. Absolutely, for sure. it's just a song where they had a separate lead that was very effective, and they smashed it in regards to the aesthetic they were wanting to. The combination again of the chill nature of the drums, the key solo later on, and the slow build up was that you had a track that kind of learnt to understand itself as we went along there, with complexity within the harmonies, but a clear purpose when everything else. Studio recording, mixing, and mastering is commercial grade. Wonderful kind of vintage feel to it. They didn't try to sterilize or overproduce it. There was a glow to it, a warmth in the mid-range there that was really satisfying, and it sounded like they really cared about themselves, and it was very authentic, in part not just because the vocal performance was authentic, but everything else just sounds like they were playing in the same room. It was a live drum take. Nice loud without pumping, bus compression, limiting his hand. I mean, it was just a really professional take. And again, the post-production with the filtering, as well as just, like choosing those instruments and niching them in the frequency spectrum without there being any ugliness, was just really a wonder stroke. So thank you to Dinahe for that. This track from an ex named Bialystocks titled Miror. Apparently we don't understand a single bit of lyrics, but the song is so good that I don't care. Exactly. I think some songs are good enough that even if you don't understand what the person is saying, you understand what the person is feeling. And while that can occasionally be, arguably a dangerous assumption to make, in this situation with the way the music's written, it feels like just a cozy blanket, man. And I honestly feel like we need more music like that at this point as a general thing. There's a lot of music that is designed to hype you up almost to an extent where our dopamine receptors are so afraid that it can be great having the antithesis of that. But thank you to Dinahe for your request. We have a track from Judith now. What is Judith going to put forward for us today? We shall see, or we shall hear, should I say. So this is Curry and Roti by Namawi featuring Tila Lashman. So this will be cool. Namawi is an artist where, like, occasionally I've had issues with it getting copyright blocked. For whatever reason, I think they're aware that they probably get reacted to or whatever, and they're really kind of keen to, like, limit maybe the audience or, like, the amount they have for that. So I've gotten, like, streams copyright blocked sometimes from Namawi, but we'll see how it goes again. If the stream gets blocked and you can't see it, I'll upload it to the Patreon as a public upload after this. But and apparently they're coming to Australia as well, which is quite cool. That's kind of neat. I didn't realize that they were coming to Australia, but let's listen to this track. Curry and Roti by Namawi featuring Tila Lashman. Yeah. Sort of a parody of Indian pop music. I saw Indians commenting that it is pretty authentic. There are too few dances in the music video, lol. Let's go, Judith. Let's do it. And subtitles as well. It is very much the vibe.
Tangachi, I am your kari. Mapile, I wanna be your roti. So nice kari and roti. Sounds good and tasty.
We're gonna have a fun time.
Baby, baby. Tangachi, I am your kari. I wanna be your roti. So nice kari and roti. Sounds good and tasty.
Great flute solo. And those harmonies are gorgeous. Those vocal harmonies are wonderful.
Sounds good and tasty. Curry love roti.
I think that was really clever. Really clever music, actually. It wasn't too over the top or ridiculous. There's been some really crazy stuff that I've seen from Namui before. But like, for sure, it was commercial grade. It's wonderful. Is this like, there's a lot of people involved in it. We'll watch till the end. So many. So many people involved. Oh, crazy. So this was quite a big video. I think this might have been quite a big video for Namui. I suppose, like, but the kind of audience that you can get from, working with international, collaborations, that makes a lot of sense. But like, what is this track about? I think it's about, wanting to be someone's curry and someone's roti and putting them together and having Chindian, if I'm not mistaken. That's what they said in it. I don't think that's a slur. It sounds like it should be, but I don't think it is. That's great. I mean, I'm sure there was more nuance to it than that. Clearly there was, but that was just basically what it was about. And I really enjoyed hearing them both sing together. Tila is clearly just a wonderful vocalist. The style is very unique to the culture and that part of the world there. The way that we really kind of focus on the melodic tails at the end of our lines. And I mean, I can't do it, but they can. And Namui did really well as well. Like, in the way they not only were able to sort of handle themselves separately in the start of each sort of verse section or chorus section, but they came together and they just harmonized effortlessly with those incredibly beautiful intervals. And it was just so gorgeous. I just loved listening to it. It's very different to a lot of music where I hear a lot of the intensity of harmonies is meant to sort of like elevate it. But here it was more like the complete nature of the track is designed to sort of be more kind of like just to sort of sit there and vibe with it and enjoy your time with it. And it's like storytelling, like with an ABAB structure there. It's nothing too like out of the box or ridiculous, but it's more that we established an atmosphere initially with the instruments we chose that you kind of got a feeling for what you might kind of going into earlier. And then, of course, we had what we had. We had just an incredible vocal performance from both, phenomenal chemistry, and just everyone looked they were having a good time. And it's when you kind of go away from that and you appreciate the authenticity of the style and the way it was captured that you got to look at the rest of the instruments. The stringed plucked instruments with the hand drums, with the bass there, There were no heavy elements with it instrumentally. There was no pushing of the low end. There was no kind of thump there. Anything here was it was really gentle sounds that came together to just sound nice. And I appreciate the simple chord progressions and motifs that we had established within this that allowed for a lot of variety from what was going on with the singers. If we'd complicated the arrangement in a way where it had gone too busy, it might have lessened the amount that we could do with those melodic tails, the da 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 dum bum, those kind of parts there. But when you leave a lot of space there and you stick to those main chords there, and you have that simplicity with that groove, you have a lot more movement with one or the other. Effectively, we're just trying not to have everything going at the same time because it can be a bit overwhelming. And when you're trying to make a clearly more relaxing, romantic piece like this, it's very smart. So the way the track was, structured with that instrumental intro there, clearly showing what instruments would be playing there, and then we had the vocals coming later on, and then we had that sort of more contemporary structure finishing. That's effectively a 3-minute track as well, without any filler involved at all. It's really stellar, and I thought it was incredibly well handled, and I think that the theme overall, even though it kind of finishes on a minor tone, it sounds like really upbeat and kind of positive because of the instrumental choices, because of the sounds and the ranges we are, and without a lack of harshness with the textures in general. So it's kind of fascinating, really. It's not an easy track to compose, but we handled it in a way where the instrumental performance was very tight, and I don't think there was a note out of place. But the studio recording, mixing, and mastering as a final note is wonderful. Everything was really well sort of stashed and niched in a free spectrum and stereo field. The vocals were easy to hear and listen along to. There was dynamic range to this. Things not the same loudness the whole time, and it was nice and loud without pumping. So it's commercial grade. Just two performers with a band behind them that really knew what they were doing. Again, I feel like there's more to the story that I got, but I'm being conservative with my understanding it here. Thank you to Judith for putting this track forward from an act named Namoi featuring Taylor Lashman, titled Curry and Roti. So that was dope. I like it. Really cool. So I think we have another track from Rose here. Thank you to Rose. Apparently, Namoi is a troublemaker for the Malaysia government, which doesn't surprise me. I think the Malaysia government can be pretty hardcore, can't it? If I'm not mistaken. Got to appreciate the folk music culture. Absolutely. I think that there's a time and place for that kind of music, and if you enjoy it, who cares? Like you just vibe with it, right? When I say who cares, it's like I mean like who cares about trying to make a certain type of music? It's about enjoying it. That's what I mean by that. I personally never been a massive fan of folk music, but I nonetheless appreciate that people enjoy it, and I understand from like a musical and compositional perspective why they do as well. Again, I like my metal and my dubstep, so I like all the heavy, intense, injected into my veins kind of stuff. Although compared to a lot of the stuff released nowadays, even that's quite soft. But yeah, let's check out this next track from Rose, titled "King of Pain," from The Police. Let's go, let's do it. Haven't listened to much of The Police either, but good to do so though.
There's a little black spot on the sun today. It's the same old thing as yesterday. There's a black hat caught in a high tree top. There's a flagpole rack and the wind won't stop.
Interesting bass tone the way it rolls and slides like
I
that.
have stood here before inside the pouring rain, with the world turning circles running round my brain. I guess I'm always hoping that you'll end this way, but it's my destiny to be the king of pain. There's a little black spot on the sun today. It's my soul of pain. It's the same old thing as yesterday. It's my soul of pain.
Interesting. I've stood here before inside the pouring rain with the world turning, running circles or running around my brain. I guess I'm always hoping that you end this rain, but it's my destiny to be the king of pain.
There's a fossil that's trapped in a high cliff wall. That's my soul up there. There's a dead salmon frozen in a waterfall. That's my soul up there. There's a blue whale beached by a spring tide's ebb. That's my soul up there. There's a butterfly trapped in a spider's web. That's my soul up there. I stood here before inside the pouring rain, with the world turning circles running round my brain. I guess I'm always hoping that you'll end this rain, but it's my destiny to be the king of pain. There's a king on a throne with his eyes drawn out. There's a blind man.
The padding on the sides is kind of intense.
There's a rich man sleeping on a golden bed. There's a skeleton choking on a crust of bread. King of pain. There's a red fox torn by a huntsman's pack. That's my soul up there. There's a black winged gull with a broken back. That's my soul up there. There's a little black spot on the sun today.
It's so kind of eerie.
It's the same old thing as yesterday. I stood here before inside the pouring rain, with the world turning circles running round my brain. I guess I'm always hoping that you'll end this rain, but it's my destiny to be the king of pain. King of pain. King of pain. King of pain. I'll always be king of pain. I'll always be king of pain. I'll always be king of pain. I'll always.
Not really sure how to take this track. Great fade out though. I like that. It's classy. Not really sure how to take this track because it was King of Pain by The Police. What is the song about? They make all these comparisons to all these things in terrible situations and all these kind of awful things. And you kind of get the impression that we're suggesting that we are all of those things that are in a terrible situation, and we're hoping that someone will either take their reign by being in a worse state than them, or that they'll take that pain away so that they're not the king of pain anymore, I suppose. That's my understanding of it. There's just a lot of creative ways of approaching that. There's always sort of like what was it? Like there's an interesting sort of stanza where it talked about there's a king on the throne with his eyes torn out. There's a blind man looking for a shadow of doubt. Yeah, okay. There's a skeleton choking on a crust of bread. So it's like people kind of doing like weird stuff, making themselves suffer unnecessarily, potentially. But then I didn't get the rich person on a bed of gold thing. I'm not sure. But either way. So it's an interesting story that we've got there. The vocals are handled pretty well. They sing well. You know, they've got there's a comfortable performance from an experienced musician who's okay. They're happy in the head and chest voice, and they know how to harmonize neatly with the other instruments within the arrangement, the keys, the guitars, bass, and drums. And you know, it's really competent. We tell the story really well. We have some really nice harmonies as well that come on the sides there and fill out Stereofield and provide a bit of variety compositionally. And ultimately, they're distinct melodies that become even more poignant when things completely sort of die down. And there's just that wow, that kind of distorted, kind of ominous synth there in the gap where there's nothing, almost like the person by themselves in that room alone. And it's visceral, but at the same time, I feel like it's approachable. It's not too over the top, and I feel like if we tried to do more than sort of sing the way we did, it might have almost taken away from the oomph from the words themselves. Track itself of 5 minutes is well structured. You have a variety of different ideas on the guitars, bass, drums, and the keys. The guitars are typically either strumming with like just like drive or chorus in the chorus sections, and otherwise they're kind of like da kind of tremolo picked things, which are really interesting on the sides. I haven't really heard that in the way where it works that well, but I feel like we managed to accomplish that here in a way that's very kind of very successful, partially because it's on the sides and it's double tracked, and so it almost seems like a replacement for a more static rhythm guitar part. I think that the fact that it's clean as well makes it a bit less in your face there. The bass line bottom works with the roots and triads really neatly. The drums, there's an eighth note groove throughout the track, which is filled with the drums, the hi-hats, kicks, and snares there. You have some 16th patterns there, some occasional fills, but the drums are definitely more supportive than anything else. I know when to bow out, kind of like in that points where it was silent, such as in the later half of the track there, and those pauses there. The keys, they have there was I think some synth pads or something going on there, with some riffs there that provide a sort of sub lead foil for the main singer, and they scatter the mix in a way that's that sort of is nice to listen to in the mid to high ranges there, and decorates the existing triads within the arrangement quite well. So yeah, it's a nice sort of satisfying track to listen to. There's a bit of tension with the way it takes along and eighth note fashion throughout a lot of it, and that is reduced by the glow of the chorus. But it's done in a way where like I think it's quite mature, and ultimately the theme itself with all those elements combined is someone working through their position of being the king of pain and trying to sort of get away with that, or get away from that, hoping that someone will save them from it. That moment of silence kind of speaks volumes. I feel like the rest of the track there, apart from the tension to the ticking of the keys and the consistent guitars, is more or less kind of more conservative and emotionally balanced to try and sort of step away from the sort of implicit darkness of the stuff they're talking about. The actual the studio production itself is definitely, it's good. I like the way that things are leveled within a stereo field and frequency spectrum. The music surrounded you in the headphones weren't any weird resonant frequencies. It was commercial grade. I think the vocals were maybe a bit dry for my tastes, but I also feel like they enjoy the sound of what they're putting out here. And I think this was released in 1983, so definitely a part of its time. There's definitely a whole lot of like over reverb or excessive reverb going on at this point, so some of the drier elements are definitely welcome. Ultimately, yeah, I feel like I get why this track is what it is, and I didn't love it. Like, I've never been a massive fan of The Police, but I do understand why people like them, and I do feel this was a well-written song. So thank you to Rose for putting this forward. This track from an act named The Police titled King of Pain. So I think that's actually the requests for now. So it was definitely a shorter queue than yesterday. Yesterday was wild, dude. There was like 14 requests that came through, and in like 40 minutes. And I think that's okay. I don't mind having like a quieter day occasionally. So what was I saying before? The video about J Child SP Googles will go on the Patreon soon. I'm just kind of figuring out how to do, if I do the subtitles on the Patreon, because Patreon's kind of weird with its like subtitles and like how it processes them, or if I just give like early access to people on Patreon and then like do like the full version on YouTube and stuff like that. I'll figure that out in my own time. Yeah, it was. I don't really know. I think that what happened was a few days ago, I had someone come onto the live stream and they wanted to show some Hua Xin Yu. And just there's like a group of people who really, really, really like Hua Xin Yu. And like I vibe with that. You know, it's great to really enjoy musicians' music. There was a lot of Hua Xin Yu. And I think that um it was good to learn a lot more about them. I appreciate the fact that there were the band cams. There were some band cams that were sent through yesterday. That was really cool to like have check out and sort of like have a listen through and sort of watch different people play their instruments. It really just kind of lets you know a lot about how these huge sounding tracks are made with like very few instruments. It's just that those instruments play big parts. They just play big parts. A lot of it is the way you record, mix, and master a track. I mean, to be fair, on a lot of those band cams, there were, there were things missing like the synths, the key parts, etc., the strings or the brass or like the extra sort of synth angles and stuff. But I mean, either way, I think it was well handled. I got no complaints about it at all. I want these live streams to be a place where people can just get their songs requested if they want to. But again, I also think it's good to sort of like chat about stuff with the channel, like the SP Googles. And to be fair, we didn't do music news today. We did not do music news today. So now we could do music news. So let us do music news. Thank you to Rose for that previous request, by the way, if I didn't say it already. Oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Tupac Shakur's family hires team to investigate potential link to Diddy. Shakur was 25 years old when he was shot and killed while driving Las Vegas in September 1996. Man, okay. To investigate an alleged link between the rappers. Oh, no. No. No way, this is real. The family of the late Tupac Shakur has hired New York attorney Alex Spiro to investigate an alleged link between the rapper's death and Sean Diddy Combs. Can you imagine if Diddy, with all the stuff going on with P. Diddy at the moment, he was also found to have had some stuff go on with Tupac Shakur? That would be wild. Can you imagine that? Shakur was 25 years old when he was shot and killed while driving Las Vegas in September 1996. The legendary rapper ultimately succumbed to his injuries 6 days later on September 13th, 1996. Former gang leader Dwayne Keefe D. Davis was arrested in September 2023 and charged with 1 count of murder with a deadly weapon in connection to the attack. Davis, whose trial begins in March 2025, has previously claimed that Combs offered him $1 million for a hit on Shakur. Damn. Dude, the thing is, if Diddy did that, I don't think Diddy is getting out of... I don't think he's going to be alive when he's out of jail. Like, I don't think he's going to survive being out of jail if it's found that he's the reason why Tupac got shot. I don't think he's safe anywhere. Because, like, there are a lot of people who clearly would feel very strong feelings about that if that was the case. And I feel like if Diddy wanted that to be public, he would have been a lot more open about it than he has been, which is apparently not. I don't know. Like, anyways, I don't know enough about it. I'm just fascinated by it. That would be incredible, though. That would be ridiculous. But it's something that could possibly happen. But it's alleged, though. And that's the main thing. It's alleged. So we don't know until we know. And we're probably going to know next March. So we just got to wait another 5 months. But we have 2 more requests in the queue from Rose and Judith. Thank you very much. Hang on. Oh, no, that was. No. Okay, so we got a request from Judith. Thank you, Judith. I appreciate that. Let us check out Judith's track here. What does Judith have for us today? Apart from the previous track, which was Curry and Roti by Namoi, which I appreciated. Mario Party by Eason Chan. A song just about an otaku that want to immerse in the virtual world and relieve himself from the reality. I can vibe with that. I think that that itself is a fascinating kind of concept. I feel like that would have happened with VR headsets. I mean, there is VR chat, to be fair. Um, have any of you tried VR chat? What is it like having a VR headset? I'm genuinely interested to know. Is it good having a VR headset? Is it worth getting a VR headset? But this is from Judith. This is Judith's request of Mario Party by Eason Chan. Oh, the groove.
我不要飛巴西唱到假期，手中的點沒遊戲，夠3點式更完美。這歌嘛，一心巴節日無關，只關於虛擬遊戲，怕超出你預期。在這斗室內，讓派對舉行。美麗拳王和戰士和經典馬里奧有份，一切是虛無。但世界太枯燥，花一世名和利流汗拼搏，到最後同樣是幻覺一種國旅賽，鮮花雲層中去轉探來學馬里奧度假蘑菇都可當餐。飛化比真實更養眼，然後再重讚亦有夢醒時刻，按下電掣痛滿有身。
Everyone's having fun, man. I love it.
大生宴分工的每件瑣事，客戶有喋喋埋怨，我假裝傾聽微笑。到家裏等握手掣在兩手，棲身於虛擬遊戲，以思想去漫遊，沒法可當成現世的英雄。我沒強橫但叫力無，公主要被我救起，一切是虛無。但世界太枯燥，花一世名和利流汗拼搏，到最後同樣是幻覺一種湖泊裏賽，鮮花雲層中去轉探來學馬里奧度假蘑菇都可當餐。遊戲中化飛化比真實更養眼，然後再重讚亦有夢醒時刻，按下電掣痛沒周身。依家裏開個舞會吧，嘉賓千萬，不可以假也當真嘛？為何別人要求評定我變了惡男，惡男們沒有權被死嗎？Shake them buns.
Oh, guitar solo. Nice. Dude, that was wonderful. That was fantastic. I had a great time with that. Thank you, Judith. Judith, this was Eason Chan's track Mario Party. Again, the song about an otaku that just wants to immerse in the virtual world and relieve himself from the reality. So we know what the track is about. The vocals from that kind of Latin fiesta vibe there, the salsa, it was, oh man, good. I loved it. Eason was having so much fun. So much fun. Just the laughing at the end, having a great time. Such a positive atmosphere and environment. It's so uplifting and energetic. It makes you feel with joy. We showed great vocal technique, incredibly charismatic, captured the stage and the vibe and the style really neatly in a way that was authentic to the genre. And nothing but love for it. Nothing but love at all. Eason, like, they're just so good at so many different styles of music, or at the very least, they've got such diversity and range for what they can accomplish, and I appreciate that a lot. You know, some people stay on a box with certain styles of music that they make, but no, not Eastern. No, they branch out. That's great. What else do you want to say about it? I think that the song at 3 minutes, it's the right length, 3.5 minutes. You didn't need more than this. There's so many different instruments in this. There are hand drums, like the big kind of kettle drums, the dom 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 dom. You've got like your bass drums and keys and brass, and those are the main components through it. And I don't think you needed anything else. There might have been some like tippy tappy kind of belly kind of things, or tippy tappy like melodic percussion that they had there, as some sort of clackers, the maracas or whatever it is. Like maraca, no, there might have been maracas, but the clippy clappers. I'm not sure what the names of those are, but either way, they're really cool, and just the entire groove of the track with the chord note accents of the drums there, the keys playing dun da da dum dun 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 dun. You're kind of working with those interesting sort of extended chords there with a sense of spice and danger about them. The bass line flirting with the chord progressions and the root notes. The guitar solo that we had was tremendous as well, because I was listening for the guitar. I didn't really hear too much of it, but the distortion, the wah, and that was great. It was a nice foil to what we had going on previously into the mix in a way that was really satisfying. The other sort of belted percussion, like the kind of like the kettle drums and everything like that, just they had different tones and textures and flirted with some like 16ths and triplets there, alongside the 18 and 16 throughs on the main kit. There are lots of different sort of percussions happening that just sounded great and niched really tightly with everything else within the arrangement. It sounded like a party. The joy of the backing vocals plus Eastern Chan plus everything else plus the style of music intrinsic to it plus the color of the chords, the mid to high range resonance there, the groove of the chord notes made you want to dance. It's just an uplifting track which really did celebrate that otaku sort of virtual lifestyle. And the studio recording, mixing, mastering was commercial grade, no issues whatsoever. Nicely sort of niched and free spectrum stereo field. The usual comments, vocals were crystal clear, not overproduced. I liked how the vocals surround you on the sides of stereo field as well. Everyone was singing together. It was just really well handled. Fantastic song. Thank you to Judith putting this track forward from Eastern Chan, titled Mario Party. It actually makes me want to go play Mario Party after this. I think it's awesome, man. Great song. Really great song. These kind of songs make me feel just like they remind you how much fun music can be. Owen Rose says it's kind of a good song for me since I can get into it. I'm glad you can. I feel like that's a really awesome thing. I'm really happy that you can get into that. Now, Shenyida, you've got a couple of requests through. Hopefully you're doing well, Shenyida. Welcome to the live stream. Thanks for your request. We're going to be checking out your track next. What do we got? We've got a couple of requests from you today. So we're up to 3 now. And I'm keeping a gentle eye on things. Not that today is as kind of like trepidatious. There's not as much trepidation as there was the day before, but still keep an eye on that queue. We got the songs from Arlen, which will be great. I don't think we've listened to Arlen in a while, if I'm not mistaken. And this song title is Including One's Name and Surname. Thank you, Shinyida. Good luck with work. Hopefully work goes well for you, Shinyida. Have a good time. Let's go. Let's do it. Let's do this. By the way, while I remember, if you're watching this, the 36, yesterday's live stream, YouTube copyright blocked one of the tracks, and so I have to go and figure out which track that is. But we will figure out which. I'll get that sorted for you today. Okay, so just if the live stream just disappears from the YouTube channel, it's because YouTube's like, oh, that needs to be blocked worldwide. So I just go onto YouTube and I just fix it, and then it usually appears in a day or two. Let's do this. It's great to have the whole crowd singing along.
他们口中自私的我，犯了偷窃时间的错，不知贴上你的爱，也很精彩的你不甘寂寞，这圈子不太一样，多少听说，欣赏你流浪，像是种信仰，我真这么想，再被你提起是连名带姓，谎称是有一只疏远的可以，多少人爱我也放不下你，是公开的秘密，只剩你没拆穿我，在处心积虑
The guitars are so dreamy.
哪来的勇气？我就是不会信，我且爱且走，其实在等你，是紧要的默契，你会不会有错过？我没有把握。
Awesome. It's great to have the drums come into this later half. You know, clear development.
要是依然念念不忘，在个山头，早放手彼此好好过多久？你怎么想表达出在我心里头？后来的那几笔又没做错什么？他们口中自私的我，犯了偷窃时间的错，不知贴上你的爱，也很精彩的你不甘寂寞，这圈子不太大，多少听说，欣赏你流浪，像是种信仰，我真这么想，再被你提起是连名带姓，谎称是有一句疏远的可以，多少人爱我也放不下你，是公开的秘密，只剩你没拆穿我，在处心积虑中
Oh, key change, nice.
哪来的勇气？我就是不会信，我且爱且走，其实在等你，是最后的默契。要是我们有错过，就别再回头。
And great trade off back to that lead guitar. That was wonderful. Thank you. That was Alan. I'm not sure. This says including one's name and surname is a translation from DeepL. I'm not entirely sure how accurate that is. Either way, let's talk about the track. I'm not sure what the track was about. Including one's name and surname. Is it? That's a little bit... Oh, the meaning of with surname and first name is the broke up lovers calling each other's full name after not seeing each other for several years. Oh, thank you, Judith. I appreciate that. See, I wouldn't have gotten that. And so I'm glad I have you guys to help me figure that out, because I wouldn't have known otherwise. I appreciate that. So with that in mind, so this song, I suppose, is about people becoming more distant over time and like sort of like losing that sort of like closeness, and but the protagonist will still have the ex-lover in her heart. See, thank you, I appreciate that. So that's basically what the track is about. I think that if we think about the way we sang, the way we emoted behind that seems extremely extremely honest and believable, and it's an authentic performance. It's a gorgeous it's a gorgeous performance that shows a bit of vulnerability from Alan, but is still sung in a way that's quite powerful, and there's full body behind that, and we're very confident on stage. We show great vocal technique there, and we don't over embellish it. We sing in a way that lets the person know how we're feeling, but is also pretty with some vibratos and interesting sort of tails there. We also leave enough room for the backing vocalists in the choir to come in and sort of build us up as well in the later stages there. And ultimately, I think it's just a really wonderful performance that's really endearing. And to come across that sort of neatly in a live performance is just the icing on the cake there. It shows they can really sing. The track at 5 minutes, I think, is really well fleshed out. It's a combination of different key guitar, drum, and bass parts. I'm pretty sure there's like a lead guitar line there that's very wistful, playing some notes out of the minor scale of that key there, and that's going on top of the piano accompaniment, if I'm not mistaken. You have the bass sort of the piano sort of supporting with the root notes and chords on the left or right hand, and some arpeggios or melodic parts on the right, without interfering too much with what the lead guitar is doing. There might be some strong parts with the guitars later on. The guitars are a little bit quiet in the mix, but definitely those lead parts, like the guitar parts that you could hear, were definitely more sort of mid to range kind of little bits, almost like they sounded a bit nostalgic, almost like we're looking back on things there again. It's almost like we're looking back at our memories and seeing things for where we are now. It's pretty, the bass when it comes in is nice and supportive of the low end. They're very smooth and sort of like firm, and works with the root notes, the progression, the harmony really well. The drums, we have an eighth note groove for the most of it, with some occasional 16th fills and stuff, and we have some interesting we have some different interesting grooves between sections. We allow for a pregnant pause occasionally to go into like the key change or something like that. But this is a track that's vocal oriented, and I think that even though there are sub leads from the guitars and stuff like that, Alan is the focus throughout the entirety of it. The theme overall does sound like we've lost something, but it's not too sad. It's the key change there is almost like proud of the fact that we still love that person. That's the impression I get from that key change at the end, despite the fact it still retains a minor leaning. The studio recording, mixing, and mastering is really well handled. Yeah, I think everything's nicely leveled, and the vocals are clear in the mix. Like, to be fair, I say that with the understanding it's like a phone recording or something like that, but I can tell from listening to it how things are matched. So bear in mind, when I say things are commercial and stuff like that, I can hear, I'm accounting for the fact that it's recorded through like a phone microphone or something like that. Sorry about that. But hopefully that makes sense. We didn't need any help producing the vocals in post. We could clearly sing. This was a great track to listen to. Probably not an easy one for Alan to sing, but very authentic nonetheless. And thank you to Sheena for putting it forward. Owen Rose says it's a solid performance and pretty touching. I would agree with that. I like it when people can be honest in their music and they don't sort of like overcomplicate things. Okay, so we have another 4 requests. We're doing well for time. That's good. So we've got a track next from Rose. Now this is titled, What Has Rose Got For Us Today? This is from Khalil Fong. So we're good to hear a bit of Khalil Fong today. There are 4 tracks in the queue. So yeah, thank you very much for the requests so far. Isn't it nice not having to change the camera batteries? And I know you guys didn't have to change the camera batteries, but I did. So it's just smooth. You just keep going with it, you know. But yeah, Khalil Fong, and we'll get the translation for the track in a moment. What do we got? It is Love. Cool. Love. Let's do it. Love from Khalil Fong.
着猜，他为擦干回家走得快，爱无处不在，可是呼之却不来。上阳台，他拿走死掉的小盆栽，他对着啤酒杯等下载，爱无处不在，可是到处有悲哀。爱在大街上小路上，每个人还谁却爱在小岛上不愿离开。
Sounds gorgeous, man. He's such a good singer.
就算百不意外，总有爱在，爱在，我爱在黄昏看谁的刘海，你爱在清早打谁的领带，我们都要爱，偏偏无法同在，不能明白，只能够期待，爱无处不在。那是爱，到头来也发现这是爱，流泪的微笑的都是爱，管它好与坏，总是呼之却不来。雪花白，永远都渴望看它花开，梁山我辜负了祝英台，在很年很呆，总是到处有悲哀。爱在阳光下烛光下没变成爱，谁却
I mean, the strings are subtle, but they add so much to it.
不愿离开，难道爱在不该爱的时候才爱？就算百不意外，总有爱在，爱在，我爱在黄昏看谁的刘海，你爱在清早打谁的领带，我们都要爱，偏偏无法同在，不能明白，只能够期待，爱无处不在。从来微风都靠树枝摇摆，从来种子都靠春泥破开，所有人世间的美好都存在，就算看不到都依然存在，在意料之外。
Oh man, listen to him go.
女孩，你快走过来，爱在期待，爱在爱在，爱无处不在，我们无处不在。看谁的刘海，爱在清早在清早打谁的领带，哦，也无法同在，你明白？有期待，我爱在楼下找谁的门牌，你爱在途上靠谁的胸怀，我们都要爱，偏偏分开，无奈不能明白，不能够期待，爱无处不在。
Oh man, just the combination of these elements here are just wonderful. Nothing else? What? I thought it was going to have a string flutter at the end to go, but it didn't resolve itself, which was really intriguing. Really intriguing. That was Love by Khalil Fong. What did we think love was about? I assume it's probably about being in love or how love affects people. I'm going to go with that as I did not know what the song was. I don't understand the language natively, but very, very easy to listen to. Khalil Fong, clearly an exceptional vocalist. Some of those vocal runs we had like later on the piece were absolutely ridiculous. Like we just smashed it. No complaints whatsoever about our approach to that. Just so, like, you can tell with how kind of dry some of the takes were that they can just clearly sing and they have complete control over the mic and there is no filler and they just elegantly like dance along it without any sort of like hiccups. The harmonies, the melodies, the vocal runs, legato, the vibratos, hidden chest voice, everything is smashed and nailed it, and it just an incredible vocal performance by someone who knows how to write and knows how to sing. The track at 4 minutes 3 is really well textured. There is a combination of different elements, including bass, drums, piano, strings, and those are the main ones. There's probably others, but those are the ones I got in like first impressions. And I think that part of why this track works is it develops itself over time in a way a lot of others do. And it's all about love. Love the actual person around you, care for and cherish them. Thank you, Owen Rose. I appreciate that. It has a beautiful feel over to it. Like the strings are wonderful in the way they sort of dance around with some parts. They have more of a whole note focus in other bits, and they allow other elements like the keys to have a bit more room to spread their legs, or the bass lines are a bit more active. These instruments take breaks doing certain amounts of things and interact with each other in really wonderful ways. But again, the strings are either whole notes or they're kind of more staccato-ish and kind of fluttering into place. So there's like little kind of flutters they have near the end, which are really pretty and delicate, but sound great. The keys, we go around the left and right hands effortlessly. We support the root notes, but then we also have these wonderful extensions on the right, and we tippy tap around the arpeggios for those in a way that's very satisfying to listen to and really emotionally articulate. Bass lines are well supported by the bass guitar in it. They're not just playing the root notes, also stepping out occasionally to fill in gaps within the arrangement where there's like a niche for a lower element there, just to be kind of da ba boom, that kind of stuff to go between root notes. And then the drums, we had like a triplet feel throughout the track, if I'm not mistaken. It was like a slow dance kind of waltz kind of thing. And I adore the fact that we took our time with the softer playing, but still a relative level of energy through it that kind of makes you feel kind of upbeat about the whole sort of situation. It's an elegant performance on the kit that doesn't overplay, but also doesn't entirely pocket. It doesn't come in until a bit later into the piece, if I remember correctly. Unless, of course, I'm completely tripping. No, it does. It just... No, I'm tripping. The drums are just a bit more kind of subtle at the start. We have like the rim shots and stuff like that, the side sticks and everything, which make the drums a bit more subtle at the start. But they kind of get a bit louder as we go along, a bit more vivacious to sort of build everything else. It's a track where ultimately the major leanings make it seem a bit more positive and uplifting, given what the song is about, the sort of the happy kind of cheery feel of the strings with the keys there, the relative relaxed nature of the bass and drums. You get the feeling that ultimately is a very positive outlook on the subject. Everything connects quite well without any filler, or not out of place, and the studio recording is commercial grade. I like the fact that the vocals were quite dry. They weren't oversaturated with effects. It's just them singing to a mic and you could just hear them clearly and efficiently. It was wonderful. It was wonderfully handled, and commercial grade in regards to leveling, panning, dynamic range, etc. Really good, really polished performance. Thank you to Rose or Owen Rose for that track. Had a great time with it. That was Khalil Fong with their track Love. And apparently Judith liked Khalil or loved Khalil Fong. I have to admit, I do have a lot of respect for Khalil Fong as well. I think they don't really miss. Now, here it is. I'm closing the queue now. Will still do the tracks for... How many have we got in the queue? 4. So I'm going to be closing the queue now. Thank you for your requests so far. I've enjoyed listening to this music today. It's really good. Really good vibes. Hopefully you'll have enjoyed some of the music that you've heard today, or maybe even all of it. I don't think we've had a track today that I've personally disliked. We've got 4 more songs to go. Okay, so this first one is from Sheena, their request. Thanks for your request. What is this track that we have here from Sheena? Who is it? We don't know. We will find out in a moment, though. It is I Will Always Love You. By whom, though? Who is this? We will find out. Deepel. Ame.
If I
Ooh.
should stay, I would only be in your way. So I'll go, but I know I think of you every step of the way.
This is gonna be special.
And I will always love you. I will always love you. My darling, you. Memories. That is all I'm taking with me. So goodbye. Please don't cry. We both know I know what you need.
Oh, man.
And I will always love you. I will always love you.
Dude,
I hope life will treat you kind, and I'm home. You have all you dreamed of, and I wish you joy and happiness. But above all this, I wish you love.
Holy shit. That was monstrous. That is so incredible. Ame with their performance of I Will Always Love You. They made it their track. That is one of the best renditions I've heard of that track in my life. One of the best I've heard in my life, and I adore it. I don't think there could have been a single thing that they could have done to have improved that performance. Just having to accept that that person's not in their life anymore, wishing them that happiness, but to let them know that they will always love you. It's just it's part of it is that I think performs it in a way where you can kind of feel the words that they're saying. It seems like it's authentic. They're actually relating to what they're talking about. And that pain is kind of carried in that performance a little bit by the way we sing. But at the same time, we are so professional and so meticulous that we sing those notes. We hit all of those notes so cleanly and so effortlessly. It seems so easy for Ame regardless. It's just so impressive. And I'm just blown away by just how clean it was. There was no issues, no points for it's like, are we sure about this? No, we just slammed it. So masterful vocal performance, absolutely unbelievable. The rest of the track though was an absolute banger, man. Like the track built, it was a ballad format. It built as we went along, consisting of bass and drums and strings and saxophone as well as many others. It's just, oh man. If we go through a few of the different parts, we just have the vocals by themselves for the first minute or so of the track, and it's just so powerful because it's just a woman on stage speaking their truth, right? And that's so raw. And we have the full string section coming when the hook line gets put in, and we have the support in that mid range there, and it's just so full of life and full of color, and it's so gentle and so pretty, and the harmonies there are so wonderful, and then the keys break it up with the right hand, left hand there, and it's just a nice little bit of extra rhythm and groove in the track there, which is really sweet. And then the next part, you have the bass come in reinforcing those root notes there. The intensity is building up a little bit, and you got the drums with some quarter and eighth note grooves there. Not overplaying, just enough to continue to sort of build it up. And you have a bit more kind of happening in the high end with some of those string parts there that are going over top. And we have the saxophone solo as well that we had in that mid part there after that second chorus, which was a wonderful foil to what was going on to the vocals of that split section. Because even though it's not a massively long song, it's still cool just to have a different lead in there, kind of like a bit of romanticism in there is just wonderful. That saxophone does one of my favorite things. It returns a bit later on, and it coalesces and it sort of like niches again. It meets up with Ame in that last outro chorus, but it has its own moment here, which is cool. And then you have that pause, that pregnant pause before the key change, and we just everything just rises. It's so powerful. Like easily one of the best key changes in music. And like a track released in the 20th to 21st century. It just hits you like a train. And it's just so, when it's sung so well, and when the whole band is together, and you're sitting there kind of absorbing with it. And it's just such a technically impressive performance as well from Ame. But then you get everyone else involved there, reinforcing those parts of the progressions there. And you have all the little intricacies with some of the saxophone or some of the brass bits or some of the string bits coming in lead alternate. And just finally the saxophone again meets with Ame later on. And the tail bits is like a call and response kind of thing. And the track finishes coming down again, the end of that bell curve. And it's just so satisfying. We just got that rush of emotion that Ame is feeling, everyone else is feeling it. We're taken along for the ride. And then boom, at the end, it comes down and we resolve. Almost like we said what we needed to. We sung our heart out. Everyone heard us, and we've done what we needed to there. It's an incredibly well-written track there. I think it does carry the heaviness of the feelings we're trying to cover, whilst also trying to put on a brave face and be happy for the person that we love. It's an extremely difficult track, but it's mature as well, and it's so... I don't know how old Ame was then, but they carry it like a champ. They just sung it incredibly well, and the studio recording, mixing, and mastering is just commercial grade. Just a wonderful... Actually, no. I think that Ame was a little bit quiet in the mix in that later chorus there. I feel like Ame could have been a bit louder in the recording in that later stage, but aside from that, it's all good. The strings got a bit kind of too much for me in the sides. They were a little bit too high on the sides. I feel like Ame could have been a bit up the center bit, but either way, well done. Well done aside from that. I think that's a production thing. Like Ame's performance was just like flawless. It's just that they could have put her vocals up in the mix a little bit volume-wise. But yeah. It's just there's almost like a majorish feel to the fact that we realize that we still love the person. That's what I get from that chorus section. I think that's part of what makes it so effective. Is that even though there's a sadness inherent with the story, we're still grateful to have been able to love that person in the first place. Thank you to Shin Yida for putting this track forward from Ame titled I Always Love You. Wonderful song. Wonderful. We got 3 more tracks though. Apparently, Ame was discovered by Tom Chang, a gem from the Penuyumayan tribe, native Taiwanese. I feel you. I'm familiar with this. I remember learning about that Tom Chang or Zhang Yuxing found Ame like that. And I think that's great. I'm glad that Ame got discovered. Owen Rose says, so beautiful, perfect performance, can't help crying, just marvelous. Absolutely. And I think that it's normal to cry when there is a beautiful thing. Crying is just a flurry of emotions. It's totally normal. It's part of the human experience. I feel like most musicians, if you cried because of the beauty of their performance, would be incredibly flattered by that, you know. What do we got from Dinahe? As this is Dinahe's track next. What have we got? Hey, it's L'amour de ma vie, Billie Eilish. Hey, back to the pop. That's cool. Open Spotify. Yeah, I broke it. I'm sorry. Here we go. Time for some Billie Eilish.
I wish you the best for the
Oh,
rest
man.
of your life. Felt sorry for you when I looked in your eyes, but I need to confess I told you a lie. I said you were the love of my life, the love of my life. Did I break your heart? Did I waste your time? I tried to be there for you, then you tried to break mine. It isn't asking for a lot for an apology, for making me feel like it'd kill you if I tried to leave. You said you'd never fall in love again because of me, then you moved on immediately. But I wish you the best for the rest of your life. Felt sorry for you when I looked in your eyes, but I need to confess I told you a lie when I said you were the love of my life, the love of my life. So you found her.
Great fill there.
Just like we were. If I ever was was depressed or losing my mind. My stomach upset almost all of the time. But after I left, it was obvious why. Because for you, I was the love of your life. But you were not mine. It isn't asking for a lot more than a body. For making me feel like it's killing if I try to leave. This country will never fall in love again, got me. And you moved on.
What's happening here?
You wanted to keep it, like something you found, till you didn't need it. But you should have seen it, the way you went down. Wouldn't believe it. Wanna know what I told her, with her hand on my shoulder. You were so mediocre, and we're so glad it's over now. It's over now. It's over now. It's over now.
What is this song? This was L'amour de ma vie by Billie Eilish. The girls on camera, your girl's a fan of Miss Me Say You Miss Me. It's such a pity we're both so pretty. What? I don't know. Face value, L'amour de ma vie, the love of my life. It kind of makes it seem like you're like wondering if your relationship was even real. You kind of regret the decision to even get with that person in the first place. You knew how difficult it would be to love them, but you loved them that much regardless, and you don't really know how to take it with the two of you and like where you're at, and how they kind of got over you almost immediately. Like you said it'd kill you if you left, but then you moved on with another person, and at the end. Is it like a reference to like Charlie XX or something like that? Because of like the change in style or something like that. I'm not quite sure how to take it. You were so mediocre and we're so glad it's over now. Is that from the other person's perspective? Your girl's a camera, your girl's a fan of Miss Me Say You Miss Me. It's such a pity we're both so pretty. I'm not sure how to describe it. Is it like, I don't know, an accusation of like a weird, I don't know, like it's a song where I feel like aside from a bit of confusion over the story, I think that the vocals from Billie Eilish in the beginning are phenomenal. The vocal technique is great. There's incredible clarity to the way she sings in the mix there. It's so raw and exquisite and phenomenal vocal timbre. And the melodies work really well with the combination of different elements we have in the track there. I'm really comfortable in our vocal range. We have a sensational amount of dynamic range there as well. We go quiet at some points, almost sort of ASMR-ish and ASMR-ish in parts. And there's a sense of romanticism about it until that late stage where there's this sort of synthy vocal textures. Or we kind of filter the vocals almost like we got moved on. We slow things down, our tempo, and then bam, we're back into sort of a dances kind of groove. It's definitely a really wild shift. I think that we're trying to sort of infer something a little bit like kind of like a it's like a secret only you know if you're involved in it kind of vibe there, and I feel like there's a bit of edge to that, but it's kind of smart at the same time. I like the fact that we're trying to do something a little bit different with music. I'm not necessarily as kind of like surprised by it or like overwhelmed by it because I listen to a lot of crazy stuff, but like for people who are used to more of a kind of a I don't know, like this is the one sort of motif we have for the track the whole way through thing. This is going to be kind of blunt for people. It seems like we're trying to evolve a little bit. Yeah, incredible, phenomenal vocals. Need lots of interesting, different textures within his tracks and approach to it, including the synthetic stuff later on, which I thought was really creative. But I can understand how it might be a little bit divisive. The track itself at 5 minutes 33 is comprised of the first half, which is like there's like chorus kind of guitar parts, a bit of rotary reverb, the bass and the drums there. It's very like a slow kind of like you're kind of just struggling to get through it sort of vibe to the track there with the guitar with a minor key there, either arpeggiating or playing the root notes along to the groove of the bit kick drums and the bass and the chorus. The bass line following a simpler kind of movement there, very matter of fact in its approach to those root notes. The drums rolling with eighth notes for the most part. There are some interesting sort of tom bits there. We kind of da dun da dun dun like we alternate, and there's a great sort of transition from that first chorus to that second verse. I think which is great with like the high, low, and floors. We're clearly using like an actual acoustic kit there, and the alternates between like the 8th and 16th rides there have a great sort of like a pulse to them, which is really satisfying to listen to, even if it's not super duper upbeat and energetic. But just that tempo shift later on there, moving into those kicks and bass and synthy elements there, it's a massive vibe shift. And I understand it's very different, sort of like thematically there. It's meant to sort of like represent, I suppose, the situation they were in. Maybe they were at a party and like they're together now at that party, and they were in kind of a crappy situation earlier, but then at that party, like things are a little bit more sort of like happy and upbeat, and now they're excited. I kind of want to take it as maybe in this part we were this person, and then later on we kind of like got to another stage of our life. This is the more the color and style and textures and ingredients within that part, and so like it's more of a kind of like, hey, we're this person now, we're both so pretty, etc. You were mediocre. So it's like going from like the before and after of a breakup in a relationship, I suppose. Yeah, that silence, and then you kind of have that clarity. Maybe I'm not sure, but either way, I think that the way you played the kit differences between like the acoustic and electric kits, for example, is kind of fun, to be honest, compositionally there. That massive A and B contrast. Ultimately, again, as I mentioned, the track sort of feels like the before the after the breakup to like the eventual kind of, or maybe like a different angle from the person that got broken up with. I'm not sure. But the studio recording, mixing, and mastering is absolutely stellar. Phenomenal clarity of the vocals, the guitar, bass, drums in the mix. Things are nicely niched in the frequency spectrum and stereo field. Leveling is great. There's dynamic range to it. Things just got really quiet at one point, and then they come back up, and you've got the incredible kind of vocal effects and the synthy kind of textures and stuff as well, kind of leveling it up in a way that apparently is quite jarring for people. I can imagine why that would be. I think that's fair as well, to be fair. Nice and loud without pumping. The commercial grade. Now, I enjoyed that. I think it was an interesting track. Billie Eilish, their track L'amour de ma vie. And I will be right back. Thank you, Dinahe, for that. I appreciate that. I feel like that last song was quite a bit actually, but I enjoyed listening to it nonetheless. This next track we have, After Dinner Has One, thank you very much for your request, is from Sheena. Thanks for your request. What have we got after that? We have got a track at this URL here. And this is from Masa, and ID and band is Way and More, apparently. So that's cool. Thank you, Shenyida, for that. Let's go. Let's do it.
请 Masa 老师来帮我们，
就是青春旋律时期的音乐。
哇，太好了！所以我们现在欢迎 Masa 老师。
Oh, that's the way I like it, right? Like a father and daughter band. It's a relatively tight performance there.
今天我们的 Masa 大哥，他是不是可以来帮我们秀一下？
哦，那他这一招一定是学了好几十年的功夫。你不要看他只有1-2分钟啊，可能他学了好几十年。
哇，所以我们现在就要一起来看看这。
So is that like the track though? Yeah, it's tricky. I feel bad about this. So usually it's like, this isn't me trying to get out of reviewing the whole thing because I don't want to. How do I describe it? Usually the reviews are like per track.
就是青春旋律时期的音乐。
哇，太好了！所以我们现在欢迎 Masa 老师。
So I suppose I'd be reviewing it based on this. Is that the same track or is there more after it?
哇，所以我们现在就要一起来看看这个 Masa 大哥他这么厉害的一个吉他手的神技喽。
I mean, he's an incredible guitarist, right? Oh, right. Oh, okay, thank you. It's tremendous tremolo bar work, to be fair. Oh, we will rock you. Great fry there. Okay, I think that this was great. So this was Masa and ID and band That's the Way and More, the 2015 TV Live. Um, what do we like about it? I think that they sung I think the lady sung the We Will Rock You part well. They tried to make it their own. It was very different than the original. And it had that kind of sort of tenacity to it that I appreciate. I think that That's the Way was a nice trade-off between father and daughter, you know, like singing between them. And it was more, I think, about showing they could sort of play together rather than necessarily trying to sort of like overwhelm with specific message. These were like parts of the track, right? That they were just enjoying bits of. I think I understand what's going on here to an extent. I think that if I review based on the vocal performance, again, the vocal fry from the lady singer, we held our notes well and we had that sort of rock aesthetic, which was cool. And it seemed comfortable on stage. And there was a great chemistry between Masa, who I assume is the father, the guy with the red guitar, you know, like there was a great chemistry in father and daughter where they seemed interested in what each other was doing and they bounced off each other really neatly and we harmonized well. And Masa's vocals and That's the Way I Like It part were good. We sung along with that. I think the focus for Masa, to be fair, was the guitar work, like a lot of the shred guitar stuff that was happening in the midsection. And I feel like we played really well. Like we could clearly be very comfortable with our tappy bits, our shreddy parts, the pentatonic and blues scales, etc. Our tremolo bar work was really neat as well. We understood how to play riffs, like with the That's the Way I Like It, as well as the We Will Rock You part. But we also knew how to do the kind of fancy, kind of sassy stuff that lead guitarists, knew all the tricks of the trade there. And I think it was just a great sort of, it was a show of what we could accomplish in different styles and regimens. Almost like we're trying to provide a sort of an all-rounder kind of experience there, which I think was, it was kind of neat. And clearly we could play. The drummer and the bass player, they were clearly very tight musicians as well. They were very sort of like functional in their role though. And they handled things really neatly. And yeah, things were well leveled in the frequency spectrum and stereo. In the stereo field, I've got neighbors next door, and it's been really quiet throughout today. But they are playing music next door, and it's very, very loud. Like to the extent where, like, it seems like it's almost a little bit too loud. Yeah, I'm starting to get really upset with Ko-fi. Ko-fi does not close my listings. That's okay. I just wanted to like listen through it anyways. Yeah, I think that we had a solid time with the guitar and bassist, and the production in general was quite cool. Thank you for showing me the guitarist, Shinya. I appreciate that. It was nice. Yeah. I've realized that Ko-fi is sent through a request from Trevor. This is frustrating. Ko-fi is not stopping the commissions. It's not stopping them. Oh, he's a godfather figure in Taiwan. That's cool. So clearly we understand what we're doing in regards to that. Skip a dog. It's all good. Yeah. Yeah. Trevor, your track. Sorry about this. Sorry. Your track will all be played in the next live stream. Stream. Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out what's going on with Ko-fi. It's where is? Here we go. Yeah. It's just it's the point of closing it if it doesn't do what it's supposed to. Thank you for the request though, Trevor. I appreciate it. I would like to have just got to stuff to do after this. The amount I had to do. But thank you, Shinyuda. I appreciate you putting this track through for Masa and ID and Band, Sway and more. Clearly really clever guitarist and knows what they're doing, and it was cool to hear to meet them. Okay. So that was cool. That was from Shinyuda. Thank you. Mark is completed. We've got one more track for today. From Alvin K. Thank you, Alvin. I appreciate you waiting for this. This will be the last one of today. It's from a band titled Taramishi no Furusato Susumu Hirasawa. Oh, the title is Tamashi no Furusato from artist Susumu Hirasawa. So that's cool. Thank you for that, Alvin. And we'll get that playing for you in a moment. It'll be good. There we go. There we are. Thank you very much. Stopped. There you go. Oh, it decided to start from there again. That's okay. Thank you to Alvin for this request. He's got such a beautiful vocal timbre. Is that like a cuckoo clock? Is there like a cuckoo clock that you can hear in there? Is that what that thing is? That was fantastic. That was Susumu Hirasawa with the track Tamashi no Furusato. Now, what do I think this track's about? I mean, I'm not sure. Good ending for your morning. Is that what it's directly referencing? Is that what that means? I mean, either way, I think it's a beautiful song. It does kind of sound like you're getting up in the morning. It's a very positive sounding track. Despite not knowing what the track means, maybe I suppose I could put that into Deepal there to kind of like get a feel for that. Yeah, that would be I suppose that would be Japanese, wouldn't it? If I'm not mistaken. It doesn't seem to want to translate. Either way, I think that this song it has a wonderful performance from Susumu Hirasawa. They have great pipes, and the melodies that they put forward are tremendous and effervescent, and they brighten up the piece as a whole. Really easy to listen to. Wonderful texture and timbre to it. Lots of love for it. It's just great glow to it all around, and it's always very personable. The vocal technique is tight, and it suits the rest of the other elements within the arrangement really neatly. I think that the track itself, outside of it, with these wonderful sort of harp elements, like the kind of like cuckoo clock, which is kind of like a pleasant, palatable sound there. It's kind of sparks a bit of quiet joy within it. The strings as well, with the major and minor harmonies there, are gorgeous, and they are just really sweet sounding and they suit the tone of the vocals really neatly. The bass underneath there, resonating with the root notes, is really charming. And ultimately, just the slow kind of consistent pace of the percussion alongside it kind of makes it seem like you're slowly moving through like this like really bright, positive atmosphere that is just full of kind of, again, like kindness and love. And like the sound of like the water and the birds as well. It is very uplifting and very soothing. And it's a relaxing piece that I think is the sort of self-aware and understands what it needs to do in order to come across like that throughout the entirety of it. And just like dynamic range of the track as well, the way the strings come up like that, perceived loudness. The vocals are the consistent thing here in regards to perceived loudness, but like the strings, they rise up and come down. Yeah, I'm sorry. Sorry, Shinyuda. I apologize. Yeah, so some people are getting their requests through, and some people are not getting their requests through when I do that. I'm not sure what's going on with Ko-fi, but I'll sort that out in my own time. I'll get this track finished. I feel like the track at 5 minutes 44 is really wonderfully spaced. It's more of a tone overall that you can appreciate the whole way through as it builds throughout. There's no moments of filler. The arpeggios are mostly majorish and very gentle and sort of sincere and easy to listen to. And it's just a really satisfying track with a really, again, like overall just these are parts I've already said, but just the way that the instruments combine and the vocals go alongside with them is just really peaceful, and it makes you feel happy. It's got a sparkle and a joy to it without being too over the top. The studio recording, mixing, and mastering to top it off, it has sort of a vintage feel to it, but it's also like there's a sense of clarity across the different instruments and vocals in the mix with the way they're sort of phrased in a free spectrum as well as in a stereo field. Like it's easy to hear everything and understand what's going on there. No complaints whatsoever about that. It's a song where really I feel like you could just, I don't think you can really sort of do anything to improve it. I think they smashed it, and it's commercial grade, and it's not an overproduced vocal performance. It's just clearly Susumu Hirasawa sort of meditating on the mic, and it's just charming. Yeah, sorry. It's just been a really big day today. I just thank you to Alvin K for that track, Tamashi no Furusato, from the artist Susumu Hirasawa. I just want to just thank everyone today for putting through requests, including Trevor. I feel really bad about Trevor. No, it's okay. No, please don't be sorry. It's okay for you to be working. I'm sorry for not being able to stream when everyone is free. You're welcome, Owen. Thank you for coming along. I've had a day today where I've kind of very quickly been needing to consider whether I can like live in the house that I'm in at the moment because we've had these new neighbors, and I used to live next to like a gang house where they just play music all the fucking time, or they'd have Harley Davidsons go down and it would be so loud that you couldn't sleep properly. And I've lived here in this house for like a year and a bit now, and it's been wonderful. But just the neighbors now, they're new tenants. I think they're renting, and it just fucking sucks. It's just sucked all day, so I've been a bit shitty about that. So apologies if I've come across a bit crass in the last bit, but I did enjoy reviewing your tracks today. We had songs from Rose, Dinner Hey, Judith, Shen Yi Da, Dinner Hey, and Alvin K. Thank you for all of them. You're welcome, Judith. I appreciate you being here. Thanks to all of you for just hanging out and listening to music with me. And Trevor, if you're watching this, I'll get yours done next time. Have a fantastic weekend. If you are an SB patron, please remember to send through your requests so that I can review them for you. Stay cool and stay safe, and please remember to have support your local musicians and artists at this point in time as need the help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world. And I will catch you in the next live stream, I suppose. Spiderhands out. 3, 2, 1.